To access all full body language videos, breakdowns and analysis, alongside the game that I can't feature here on YouTube, check out the Patreon. The link is in the description. Thanks.
Mic check, 1 2 1 2. Everyday Superpower, where we talk body language, relationships, game. That's GAME with a capital G for greatness. It's Everyday Superpower. And today we're going to talk about competition anxiety. And you ask, what's competition anxiety? I may have heard you reference it here and there across your videos, across numerous topics, but could you inform me how this is going to aid me in receiving the energy I ever so much desire from the submissive woman I crave? And I will tell you yes. Yes, I will inform you how this works, and I will inform you what competition anxiety is, how to induce it, and how it places both parties in their natural, God-given position. So, there's a stereotype that the married man has to walk on eggshells around his wife to ensure he doesn't annoy her, to ensure she doesn't kick off at him, to ensure that everything's good and he doesn't get a headache, right? That's backwards. That's a subversion of the biological norm, and that woman doesn't respect him, clearly, due to that dynamic that has been established, because she wouldn't dare act in that manner to her boss. She wouldn't dare act in that manner towards her father, potentially, given she has a good relationship. If she has a bad relationship, you might assume that, but then why has she got a bad relationship with her husband? We don't want that. But this is advertised as the norm. They make us believe this is the norm. Society has been engineered to believe this is norm. And when I say society, I mean us peons, right? Who get force-fed the incorrect information via media and indirect promotion of this social dynamic. Blah-de-blah-de-blah-de-blah-de-blah. In a woman, right? And I digress. The man walking on eggshells is the vice versa of the reality. She needs to be in position to not want to lose you and not want to get under your skin down to the fact that she deems you as valuable, right? She wants you to be perceived as valuable in her eyes, because if you're valuable in her eyes, you're in masculine position, you're in dominant position, you're a leader, she's someone she respects. And that's rightful. Am I wrong? Does that sound like you're playing some sort of game, or just readjusting the scales to their appropriate position? So, in the woman, there is a biological mechanism that is triggered when, in the presence, whether it be in the physical, material plane, or within her psychological, within her mind, there is a trigger of anxiety that is brought upon when that woman deems another woman as threatening, as someone who holds value within the feminine space that her partner or partner-to-be resides. And even if that woman is single and isn't dealing with men, this competitive anxiety is still induced, like the man who is envious of the man who has what he hasn't, because she knows it's going to lessen her potential to garner a mate, to garner a man who can provide her the lifestyle she needs, the life, the safety, the security that she needs. It's her biological hardwiring. This competitive anxiety exists and resides within the majority of normal women, right? When you as a man keep enough distance for you to hold some degree of independence, you will hold some form of control upon the triggering of this anxiety, because she knows she hasn't got you under her thumb. She doesn't really want you under her thumb. This is the beautiful contrast behind it. This is the awkward, yet once you understand it, brilliant dynamic that resides within the woman to the man. Consciously, she doesn't want to feel uncomfortable. She dislikes discomfort. She dislikes wondering where you are, who you're with, who she is, why you're talking to her. She doesn't like that because it makes her feel uncomfortable, because there's potential that you will leave her for her and in the process give her your resources, right? Whereas she wants you for your resource, whether that be your genetics if you're unemployed. You know, you look good, she's with you for a reason. Whether that be your inheritance because you've got a rich and as hell family and she perceives that as something she desires and sees in your future. That's why she's hanging around. Or blah-de-blah-de-blah, right? She wants you for the resource, whether that be genetic or whether that be material, right? Don't think it's because it's your sense of humour. Don't think it's because it's your big willy and this and that. She wants your genetic makeup for the children, or she wants your material resource, if not your ability and your showcase of characteristic that proves that you're able to do so, if not heading towards that in your future, yeah? She don't want a bum. She cheats on the bum, right? Full stop. So, she sees you engaging with other people and she knows that she can't control you by giving you a headache. And if anything, if she starts giving you a headache and starts shouting at you and starts arguing with you, that's only going to push you further away, because you still have the independence and the leniency and the space to maneuver, because you didn't give away your masculinity when you got in a relationship with this woman, like her last boyfriends did, like her last husband did, like her friends' boyfriends are doing. You're resistant to giving away your identity for the sake of this second party that doesn't lead. And if she doesn't lead you, what are you doing taking instruction that is contrary to what makes you valuable, what makes you a person she was attracted to in the first place? Why does she want to change that now? So you don't fall into that trap. And in not falling into that trap, you raise this competitive anxiety as to where she sees the value in you. It's a very positive thing. Look at the most famous and rich people in the world, right? They can get any women they want, any degree of high valued woman they want, right? Do you think when that woman gets with her, there isn't going to be this engaged anxiety that this rich and popular man can leave her at any time? Why can't he? She knows the attention he gets. She knows that she has to behave. She has to operate in a different manner to the women who are in your general day-to-day working class relationships, because she is with someone of value who she can't lose. She can't lose him. It's not a matter of he's annoyed me, so I'm going to argue with him. It's more so he's annoyed me, but I can't lose him, so I need to engage with him in a respectable and respectful fashion, right? Which these married men, or so you would think, looking at the internet and looking at how the media portrays it, doesn't get, because supposedly it's normal that when you get married, your missus just starts walking all over you and you have to, you know, deal with that and bow at her feet. No, that's not the case. And your missus will cheat on you for that, right? I throw around the word cheat a lot, yeah, because duh. Do you know, when you're in this game and you're practicing and you're fooling about and you're engaging with so many women, you soon realize the reality of such, right? So if she's wondering if there's other women in your life, yes, there are. If there are. You tell her. It's not going to do you harm. She's going to want to fight for you. If you, like this is another thing, right? The honeymoon period. Oh, she stopped having sex with me. Oh, we don't get it on as much as we used to do. Oh, it's just a part of the passing time, blah, blah, blah. Bro, that's just because your game got soft. Because you lost your identity and your value as an independent man. because you felt that was the way it had to be once you became a couple. When you are now not man, you're now man and woman. That's your identity. You're known as being him attached to her and her attached to him. You're not known as him no more, right? It's a sad position to be in, right? They say the woman stops giving them attention in the bedroom. The bedroom's not as good as it used to be, blah, blah. Trust me. Trust me. Let me put you on game here. If she is in any way uncertain or actually certain of the nature of females that can be around you, the way females could be around you, and the attention you'd be more than happy to receive from them females, not saying you're cheating, but you're an open-minded man, you say, yeah, it's flipping nice to be validated. Don't worry, though, I'm not going to do anything. Don't get so shook. Then trust me, she's going to ensure you leave that house fulfilled. I'm putting you on game here. 10 years, 15 years, 50 years down the line, you're going to be receiving the utmost positive attention. You're going to have a full stomach. You're going to be well looked after down there because she doesn't want to send you into that world with those whom incite this deep penetrating anxiety within her feminine soul and spirit, because that exists. You need to understand this. Don't allow it to be the vice versa. Don't allow it to be the vice versa. You don't have to be scared of annoying her. You're respectful enough to the degree where you shouldn't argue anyway. It's the man's imperative to have peace in the relationship. It's her imperative to have drama. You shouldn't be kicking off with your missus. But she could kick off with you if she starts to lose respect. She might kick off with you when she knows you've got no one else to be with, when you've got nowhere else to go, when you don't have the capabilities of being anyone, when you have to start afresh as most men do. Honestly, I'm putting you on game. She will look after you better and better and better, contrary to what the next man tells you when he says, no, man, no, I can't let her know about her because she'll probably leave me or she'll get annoyed. No, she'll see you as a valuable man who's looked after and looked for by those of the opposite sex. That's some game. Click like and subscribe. Peace. Everyday Superpower, where we talk body language, relationships, game, everything in between. The message I come with today is one of comparison, one of duality between the man and the woman, a principle of opposites. Her saying, let's just be friends to you, and compartmentalizing you within the friendship category as opposed to the sexual relations category, the potential suitor category, is the equivalent of you having her as a F buddy. Do you know what an F buddy is? Yeah? A fuck buddy, right? I'm not going to be going out of my way to be crass with my words today, but it is what it is. When she places you in the let's just be friends category, that means that you can continue providing her that which she values: acknowledgement, attention, emotional energy and feedback, without what you want in return, or at least without the payoff you may have initially wanted. Now, I've done a video in regards to the benefits of being in the friendship zone. I don't think it's a bad thing if you're not continuing to pursue that woman, because you can potentially utilize that to garner the attention of other women, right? It's a controversial one. I've had discussions with people about this. I know some people disagree and say, nah, we cut them off and we continue moving. It's pointless being there. We might as well just meet women who are sexually interested in us. Completely fine, each to their own. But generally speaking, the man gets placed in the friendship zone and feels like there is still potential for him to showcase how valuable he would be as a boyfriend, as a husband, as a so on and so forth. And we all know across the board that doesn't really happen. It doesn't really happen. It doesn't really happen. It's the equivalent of, you know, it's a macrocosm of the man. Think of it this way, right? It's the macro of the sexual act. So you establish tension, right? You engage in the deed in the bedroom, you climax, and then you cuddle, right? You're starting this relationship or trying to get into the sexual stage of this relationship via the cuddle at the end. You've missed your chance. You've not entered the communication well. You've entered it as a friend. You've entered it as the cuddly, oxytocin-inducing, attention-giving, comfort teddy bear, right? You don't want to bang the teddy bear, unfortunately. So the flip side is when the masculine places the woman in the fuck buddy category, he's receiving off of her the sex without reciprocating the emotional communication and transaction she craves, right? So it's an overt display of power on both ends. It's a display of value. It's a display of you need me more than I need you, to the degree where you're giving me what I want and I'm not giving you what you want. And you can say, well, women want to just have sex too, and blah, blah. That's true. But men just want to have friends as well. Men just want to have conversations and good times and be around women too, right? But we know it detracts from the man's value when he is perceived as not a potential sexual suitor. Her biological hardwiring isn't showing a degree of interest in you because you don't set the standard as to which she is looking for. You don't hold the value as to that which she is looking for. And it's not just sex, it's the body's biological impulse to procreate and continue her genes on, right? Or it's her body or a subconscious magnetization towards you because you possess the degree of resource needed to make her life better. She's going to want to sell herself to you with her most valuable asset, given that she, in her mind's eye, perceives you as that of a man of value, but she doesn't. The woman you're F buddies with, you don't perceive her, or the next man does not perceive her as someone of value other than an objectified piece of meat. You know what I mean? I'm signing out on that one. Click like and subscribe. Game. Peace. Everyday Superpower, where we talk body language, relationships, game, everything in between. I'm gonna speak to... essentially, I want to get into the soul and spirit of the minds of the people who are a little bit fearful when it comes to approaching women who they perceive as higher value as them. And that's understandable because through your recognition of patterns in this world, you're aware of the sexual marketplace and you're aware at one moment. Let me just plug this charger in. You're aware of the value of a beautiful woman. You know your competition indirectly who will be pursuing them women, and through consciously, if not unconsciously, assessing your own value within this marketplace, you might be aware that you don't uphold a standard that she's looking for in a man, and that's just the reality of it. The beautiful women go with the men with resources because that's just the pair off. You know, that woman who's beautiful generally isn't going to go with a beautiful man. She's going to go with a beautiful man who has got money, who has got resource, who has got comfort, who's got security, and so on and so forth. That's the feminine imperative, whereas the masculine imperative is to essentially find good breeding stock, for lack of a better term. That's the way it is. So you can level the playing field somewhat by seeing things as they are, by seeing her as she is. Okay? We're gonna have to put on the spectacles of reality. Yes? We should try, when possible, to consciously assess this anyway. And as I spoke of pattern recognition, as you go through life and pay attention to people, you naturally will clock on to the patterns that emerge anyway and be able to read people with ever progressive success, right? To the point where people will think you're a psychic, right? This is called everyday superpower. This is about reading minds. So she's in good shape. Let's say she is in fantastic shape. She goes to the gym every day. She looks fantastic. This is a physique that every man would love to spend a moment with, right? She goes to the gym every day, my brother, because she's insecure about herself, right? And this isn't about casting judgment on women. The muscular man who's massive may or may not take steroids, but he spends so much time in the gym, is fighting his shadow, that inner child that is insecure about the way he looks. He looks in the mirror and he's still never good enough. And albeit a projective release for the shadow, a productive vice to fight the darkness to his light, it still stems from insecurity. So you men out there who are, you know, a little more fragile, you know, skinny men or chubby men or whatever, and you find yourself feeling envy at the man who's got the big biceps and the big legs and the six-pack abs and the strong chest and so forth, just take a moment to take a deep breath in and think maybe there's a psychological disturbance that has provoked him to act in that particular manner. More than likely the case, right? So pay attention. She's the fittest girl on planet Earth, and maybe that is a counterbalance to her being the most insecure woman on planet Earth. So why are you scared to speak to her? Maybe your acknowledgement, maybe your casual conversation, maybe you seeing her as a person as opposed to casting judgment purely based on her body and approaching her in a way which isn't overtly sexualized. Maybe she will find ever so much comfort in that because you separate yourself from the rest of the men. She is in the gym 24 hours a day, not to appeal to the masculine gaze, but to reassure herself of her own identity to fight her demons. The skinny girl who is in good shape but is gaunt, who has sharp features, who has supermodel aesthetics. She is beautiful, but she has an eating disorder. She's ever so frightful to eat food. She goes days without eating a good meal. She is weak, and we perceive this as beauty. We perceive this as a woman we want. We perceive this as a 10 out of 10. We perceive this as perfection. And she might go to the gym every day as well, consistent cardio, fighting them extra pounds that never, ever, ever stop. And we perceive these women as top tier. And I'm not saying these women aren't beautiful, right? I love a good looking woman as much as the next man, but I'm just telling you, see it for what it is and don't pedestalize these ladies through your manufactured perception of how she's valued. And this is manufactured through Hollywood and the media and social media, emphasizing and concentrating and raising the magnifying glass to these conventions. There is a degree of biological reality when it comes to why a woman is perceived as more valuable as the next. But historically speaking, if you are to look at the paintings and the artworks and the pin-up models per se of them times, these items of lust through the masculine gaze, they didn't look like the women of today. So it was ever changing. Those women were an image of fertility. But we've been subverted into believing that eating disorders are to be elevated into the top tier of what a woman is. Pay attention. If she's had cosmetic surgery, you're better than that. You don't need that. She didn't need that, but she got that. See it for what it is. Don't pedestalize these women because you're fearful of her superficiality. If she has a face full of makeup on a consistent basis and she looks amazing, yeah, she has to spend 2, 3, 4, 5, 20 hours a day applying that, down to the fact that she needs to apply this mask because she's fearful of her true self, such as the man who always wears a hat because he is bald, right? Such as the man who wears a balaclava because the information he provides is of such substance and such contrary to the social norm, he doesn't want to be identified. There is a mask at play here, right? Work it out, identify it, and see what the deal is. Have I got any more notes? Because I'm putting you on game here, people. I am putting you on game. The most beautiful aesthetic women that scare and fright the men. And have them shivering in their little boots, even though they're just little women. They are the weakest of their species. Social media. I've got a massive social media platform and I have to use that to assess my worth. When they talk about hoflation, it's because of you fucking idiots. It's because of simps just going out of their way to produce attention for this woman without any sort, or you don't even get a word in return. These men don't even get a word in return, whereas the let's just be friends in the real life, at least with some degree of communication, you're now just single-handedly giving this woman attention for the sake of giving her attention, and you receive literally nothing in return, as opposed to the pang of feeling that submissive gesture provides you. She's never going to talk to you, right? But she has elevated her status in her perception. She has fought off her insecurity. She has fought her demons off through this consistent manufactured persona that is displayed upon these social media outlets. And you suck it up and you soak it up and you give her what she wants because of that, right? And now she's experienced that. She's not going to stop posting. Right? The woman who is confident doesn't need to do this. I understand that attention is the coin, is the finance, is the currency, is the be all and end all within the feminine realm. But some beautiful women out there don't need to rely on strangers giving her attention, because that is symbolic of insecurity and the lack of self-worth. If you are worthy and understand your self-worth, you don't need to garner that validation from the people around you who you don't even know to reassess that. And the more you receive that, the less it means, and the more you continue to spiral into this place of self-hate, because you're looking externally and not internally. See things as they are, my friends, all right? If you're engaged with a beautiful woman, if you want to speak to a beautiful woman, see it for what it is, and it'll make things a lot easier, right? Everything is balanced. The reason she is so beautiful is because she's harboring darkness. And this is the same with men. So this isn't purely, me pointing the finger. I'm just saying, be real, man. I'm signing out on that one. Peace. Everyday superpower. We talk body language, relationships, game, everything in between. Put you onto some game, yeah. This is Fantasy 101. This is the story of most women's, overtly sexual fantasy novels and media. The Shades of Grey franchise in particular highlights and emphasizes this. She wants the man who can have anyone, but chooses her. Right? She wants the man who can have anyone, but chooses her. Pre-selection. The more the better. If you've got 5 women chasing you and she's aware of that, she's going to be attracted to you. Whereas if you've got 50 women chasing you, she's going to be even more attracted to you, because it's a showcase of your social value. Men play it backwards and think that they have to be isolated to her. They have to be glued onto her. There can't be any other women. They have to shut off every other woman, and they have to be completely devoted, dedicated 100% to her. And in a way, I don't disagree as far as the dedication is concerned. I don't believe in cheating, people will disagree with that and that, but I think, if our biological protocol is to bring us together, sometimes we have to fight against our nature in order to provide a good life for the children of our future, and cheating just doesn't do that really. So I say that to say this: she wants the man who can have anyone, but chooses her, because that elevates her self-perceived worth. She's more in tune with the societal values of people than we are as men, right? Because it serves her purpose more. She needs to she needs to attach to somebody who she perceives of a higher value than her. That's how relationships work. And if she links on to a man who she perceives as lesser value than her, then she's probably going to cheat at some point. She's going to find an excuse to get that man to dump her through one way or another. She probably won't dump you herself. She'll make you dump her. So don't be afraid to be a well-loved man. Don't be afraid to have women flirt with you. Don't be afraid to have a little bit of a telling off or spike a degree of insecurity into the partner you love ever so much through this process, because believe it or not, she loves it. Believe it or not, she loves it. She wants spontaneity. She wants drama in her life. That's why women are attracted to drama programs. That's why women watch reality television and so forth, because drama is exciting and fun, right? Especially within the societal plane. It's all just fun and games, isn't it? It's just interpersonal relationships, just interpersonal communications, but it creates an anxiety of competitive value in her brain that has her work harder to keep you, that has her, and this sounds manipulative, but hey, if you want her to get bored and leave you because she's bored, then feel free. Because in a general relationship, the man wants stability, peace, and comfort, such as myself. I wish that women shared that same sentiment, right? But when we fall victim to the pattern of comfort and going to work and coming back and paying your bills and watching the television and everything's great, everything's fine, that woman slowly and surely gets bored and starts fantasizing about the man who is a little more exciting, has a little more going on. And that man isn't a loner who has got no attention. That man she fantasizes of is a man of value, and considering she has value, by default he should have women pursuing her, right? Pursuing him, right? That makes complete sense. If you're not valuable, you won't attract the attention of women. Whereas if you are valuable, women perceive that value. It's not about men perceiving that value, it's about other women perceiving that value, right? You might hold value within the realm of men as far as, you know, your sense of humor is concerned and your jokes and this and that. And given that you can somewhat portray a leadership role within that, she's going to find that attractive. But it's going to be 100-fold given that women want to take submittance to you and follow your lead, right? You can have anyone you want and you chose her. You elevated her to a space above and beyond these other women, these competitors. She's got competition anxiety because she needs to be aware as to where she stands in the societal plane, because it's a principle necessary to know if she's going to be able to procreate and have comfort for both her and her children in the future. It's her animalistic nature, right? I mean, we can sit here and think about all of this physical crap about, oh, sex feels good and we just want to have sex and we're just sexually interested. But no, there are few genuine, proper, animalistic, evolutionary, biological principles that underline every action we take, every action we don't take, what makes us scared, what makes us happy, what we're drawn to, what we're not drawn to. Atop of that comes the nurturing element as to how we were brought up, how we were influenced, who our parents were, who our parents were. And then, you know, then we got the societal influence. And it gets weaker and weaker, but it all plays a role. But down at the bottom, the foundation of this pyramid is your hardwiring. And her hardwiring wants her to seek out a man who is of value from the world, because that is somebody of value in her world. That's the be all and end all. That's the be all and end all. The women want to have sex with the boss because the boss makes the most money, and the boss possesses this authoritative figure that she, is the submissive entity, craves to be in relation with, right? That's the masculine and the feminine. That boss is a leader of men in the fact that he tells the other men what to do. That's attractive to the woman, and that is the most overt declaration of hierarchical significance she needs. Like, it's there in front of her. She doesn't need to subconsciously work this out by doing the mathematic of how each and every person interacts. It just quite literally is there on paper. You know what I mean? So pay attention. She wants the man other women want. When I talk about that 50 Shades of Grey, is it 50 Shades? 50 Shades of Grey franchise. Yeah, he's a businessman. Yeah, he's rich. Yeah, he's got a dark streak to him. Yeah, he's mysterious. But think about how it was emphasized when every woman on planet Earth was reading this novel, all fantasizing about this same guy. This makes him larger than life. This really emphasizes and amplifies this man's value in the eyes of the world. Because now all these women are sitting around getting wet over this guy. Imagine if it was me he chose. And all these women are craving and lusting after this man, right? Imagine if it was a footballer. Every woman wants that footballer. First and foremost, he gets paid pretty bloody well. Second to that, he's handsome, he's fit, he's young, he's healthy, right? Brilliant. Perfect. I mean, it's all about the money, isn't it, really? But then there comes this self-indulgent feminine communication that if I'm seen with this man, all the other women are going to look at me and identify me as someone of value. And imagine the drama, right? I'm just putting you on game. Click like and subscribe. Peace.